What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Today we're gonna be taking you guys through a nice Crown of Tempest Prismatic Warlock build for y'all. So with this build, we're gonna be sliding around using that Arc Surge a bunch. We're gonna be using the Arc Super for sure because we have the conducting tines of this armor piece. Arc ability or Jolt Final Blows increase the recharge rate of our Arc abilities and extend the duration of Storm Trance. So with this build, we're going to be able to add Clear like an absolute menace, jolt a bunch of different enemies because of our slide, as well as our grenade, plus the weapons that we're using as well. So we're getting our abilities back very quickly with this build, allowing it to continuously just perpetuate our spam of jolting, getting our abilities, jolting, getting our abilities, and so on. On top of all of the jolt, we're also going to have Devour with this build to help us stay alive. So like I said, we're using that Storm Trance to pair with our good old helmet over there, giving us that nice increased damage and such. We're going to be using the Healing Rift with Balance Glide, as well as our Arcane Needle. This gives us 3 needles, so we can use Lightning Surge 3 different times, which allows us to blink forward, jolting targets on our way, as well as doing damage. Very good for the PvP realm for sure. And even with this, having the 3 different surges, as well as the Crown of Tempest, allows some pretty crazy synergy of that jolting and getting our abilities back. We're going to be using our Storm Grenade as well, so we can get even more of that jolt because of Faceted Dominance down here, as well as Feed the Void, like I said, so we can get that Devour to proc really easily, as well as get that grenade energy back on top of it, so we can basically spam our abilities because of the regeneration of our helmet, as well as Feed the Void. For Fragments, we're going to be using Faceted Balance, so when we get those defeats with light energy, we're going to get our melee. When we get dark energy defeats, we're going to get our grenades, so allowing us to spam our abilities in another way besides our Crown of Tempest and our Feed the Void. Facet of Awakening right here is going to help us to create a bunch of Ionic Traces with this build, which will give us a good little bit of our ability energy back. So again, just another way for us to spam our abilities, but rapidly defeating targets with light or darkness damage, or our supers generate those elemental pickups with the matching damage type. So a lot of this is going to be tangles as well as Ionic Traces. Third on the list of fragments, we got Facet of Protection. While surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to incoming damage. While Transcendent, this effect is increased. We're going to get Transcendent very quickly as well. Facet of Sacrifice, while we have Arc, Solar, or Void buffs, our ability Final Blows grant Darkness energy for Transcendent. So this right here, one of the reasons why we're going to be able to get Transcendent so fast, because we're going to become amplified with this build, as well as have Devour and Radiant all at once. Now last but not least, this is that Facet of Dominance that I was talking about, where our Arc Grenade is going to jolt targets, so we're using it to our advantage with this helmet to really round off the synergy by creating even more Ionic Traces and getting that nice exotic perk Conductive Tines to proc, where we get our ability energy back real quick. Right here is what we're going to be using for our mods as well as the stats. I went with Resilience, Recovery, and Discipline as my 3 to max out, with Strength as my 4th option. Really wanted our grenade back as fast as possible, with our Rift as well as Staying Alive, that 30% damage reduction in that end game. Super nice. For me, I'm using Special Ammo Finder, Strand Siphon, as well as that Harmonic Siphon. Like I said, even more of those tangles as well as those jolt coming from our weapons and Ionic Traces. We're going to use Impact Induction, Momentum Transfer, as well as Bolstering Detonation. Just a little internal feedback loop to get our grenade back, to get our melee back, as well as our class ability just by doing damage with our melee grenade. Now right here is just what I went into for the GM with some sniper arc resistance. You can mix and match on your chest piece to whatever you want depending on the content that you are going into. On my boost, I went with Arc Surge, so we can get that nice juicy 17% increase in damage with time dilation, so this lasts a little bit longer. Bomber, so we can get our grenade back even faster, and we throw our Rift down, as well as Powerful Attraction, so all of those orbs in a nice close vicinity when we do use our Rift going to attract right to us, just helping us to keep up our damage with the Arc Weapon Surge, and it just helps instead of having to go run around in some of that endgame content. Weapons for this build, I went with the Call, so we can stun those unstoppable champions, as well as this Rocket Sidearm. Very nice with that Strand little synergy. Slice one for all on this bad boy. The new pulse rifle with that heavy burst, 2-round burst, corrosion on this, eddy current, as well as volt shot. This allows us to get even more jolt going on with that volt shot, so even more synergy of the build, even more ionic traces, even more procking of conductive tines over there, as well as Thunderlord. So again, it creates lightning jolts that come down from the enemy, so a little bit of extra perpetual motion for us, getting some stuns on those champions, getting our helmet to proc, just letting the build eat and finish itself off without you having to do much besides spam your abilities and your weapons, and that is all you gotta do. Last but not least, we got our Hunter's Artifact right here with our little journal. We got ourselves the Unstoppable and Anti-Barrier Pulses right here for our 2 weapons that we got in the Call, as well as that Corrosion. We're gonna have Overcharged Armory because both of our weapons inside of our Call, as well as that Corrosion, got Dealer's Choice and that Radial Area Transponder on them. Kind of the same thing with Winning Hand with those Dealer's Choice weapons. We're gonna get some Solar Scorch to spread. Nice for this end game content, or just in general, spreading a little extra scorch around for the crew. On top of that right here, we're gonna be using this for weapons matching our super, give us those elemental pickups, so even more of those ionic traces to get back our abilities. Press the advantage, we get weapon stability, handling, and reload when we break a combatant's shield. This Threaded Blast is definitely super nice, gives it like a 3 times increase of that explosion. For those supple tangles that will be nice exploding with our Call, we're gonna get that Radiant, like I said, right here for picking up all those orbs of power with that powerful attraction on our class item as well, to get them without having to run over them just by using our class ability. Counter Energy right here when you are a member of a fire team, stuns those champions. This is more for end game, of course. We get a little bit of our energy, as well as both of these, that Shield Crush as well as Transference, just helping us to get our grenade and melee energy back, as well as Transcendent and getting a little bit of extra damage in that. So we'll have basically all of these inside of the just perpetual feedback of the build. Throwing out our grenades, using the slide, using just our normal melee to create a tangle or 2. We're gonna have Slice on our sidearm, which is gonna help us to create tangles. We got a good amount of jolt going around with basically both of our heavy as well as our pulse rifle, as well as all of our abilities on this. So getting our super, getting our abilities are very, very easy. Getting Transcendent is also very, very easy. So I really like this build for basically any type of content you want to go into. It's pretty mindless, like I said. All you got to do is shoot your weapons, make sure you're getting that jolt to proc with your abilities, as well as the grenades, everything like that. Very easy to get those ionic traces because they track to you, so you don't got to go search them out like some of the other things, those nice Void Breaches, Fire Sprites, stuff like that. So love this build. Y'all have to try it out. Let me know what you think. I know we are in a little bit of a rut here, but very, very fun content hopefully coming out of the channel. Not too much going on in the Destiny world, so we're gonna branch out, see what we can get into, get in some trouble with some other games, but of course main focus is still going to be Destiny content. So if you like a little variety with the Destiny, I will hope you guys like to stay along for the journey with me into the future here. Like and subscribe if you would like, helps me, helps the channel out a bunch. Hit that bell if you haven't, so you get the notifications as we post here for builds, guides, everything like that. But I appreciate you guys as always. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.